What an intro, man. We had to go back old school for that one, man. What an awesome video showing off the Cow RC products. But, man, welcome to Cowtech, episode 55. And I'm your host, Adam Ross. We got Tyler Sllay in the house, too.
Hello.
Man, we have a whole bunch of new people jumping on board. We're just going to give them a few minutes because, man, do we have a wicked episode for everybody tonight. Like,
definitely one of a kind.
It's like the event. It is one of a kind. And man, I was lucky enough to get invited to this iconic race and to be there promoting Cow RC was amazing. And man, the way it was put together, I'm not going to blow up our guest's head too much until he can be on with us. Because, man, I want him to hear all the hype because the amount of work that he did, he deserves all the praise. He'll say it took a team, which I agree. Because seeing how hard it was to pull off this big event was awesome. Walking through the pits, seeing some legends, seeing some cool stuff. We got a whole show for you guys, but our lead in here is happy birthday Heath, because man, I want everybody in the chats right now to wish Heath a happy birthday. One more trip around the sun. We won't say how old he is, but
there's a big one.
It
starts with a 5.
Good. What's up, y'all? Hey, happy birthday, Corey. Definitely can't wait to race with you again. And I don't know, man. Rumor has it this guy might be getting into crawling, so we'll see how that goes.
Right, we were doing some shopping.
Yes, sir. But we definitely have a really cool show lined up for you guys. So obviously, I'm wearing my old school stuff. I got the old school shirt hanging in the background. I got the hat on. I got all the stuff that Dirk hooked me up with because, like, man.
Walking billboard.
The way that he set this up was so professional, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it from the man himself. But definitely super cool that we got to experience it, and the track. Man, I've been to some pretty epic events, and to see the Hoosier Motorplex in person was just amazing. I was blown away. The 10 scale track was huge, and not only that, I'm building a late model because of their facility. I picked it up there because we couldn't even get these in Canada, so I brought it back. Yeah, and what an awesome deal. They have Dirt Oval there too, and their hobby shop is just amazing. The whole thing was pretty epic, but I think that we should probably bring the man, the myth, the legend.
That's what we're here to see.
Yeah, man. Let's just get him on board so we can have some fun. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Dirk, man. Welcome to the show. Look at that.
Hellers.
Oh, what's up, buddy?
Oh, you know, man, just coming down off a huge high. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the event, of course. Wow. Adam, first off, thank you for being there, and thank you for being a part of it. And, you know, I want to do something pretty special real quick because, you know, Heath and I go way back.
Yeah, man.
And I know it's his birthday today.
Yesterday, but yes.
Yes, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, hell. I missed him then. Happy birthday, Heath. Belated. I was going to sing you happy birthday, but now I'm late. So, but we love you, Heath. And thank you for all your support for the race. The trophy mats were phenomenal. Yes, even though I screwed them up, they were phenomenal. But yeah.
So obviously, man, I know you, Tyler knows you, Heath knows you, but man, we got almost 30 people on board right now. Who is Dirk? Because I learned some stuff last week, and I'm like super impressed.
Wow. Yeah.
You got
So who is Dirk? So I'll tell you kind of a little bit of my backstory. So, I started racing in South Florida, 82, I believe, 82, 83. I was just a young lad, started racing and caught on pretty quick. And, I was ended up being sponsored by Kyosho. Originally, I was a junior driver for them and, got to travel the world with them. We had a deal with a new hobby shop that Kyosho had kind of sent some people over to open in the US. And, I was a part of that team and got to travel and spend time with people like Joel and so forth. And, competed in many nationals, regionals. I was at the One Worlds in 87 and I had would have been at the one in 89 if I would not have left and moved to Tennessee. But, I started young and, got to spend some time, with several of the legends that you met, Adam, at the race, Joel Johnson, of course, a good old buddy of mine.
That's
yes.
so cool.
Yeah. People like Jammin' J. Halsey, Eustace Moore, of course, Curtis Hustings. And, true, honest story. I got in some trouble when I was a teenager and my parents moved my butt to the mountains of Tennessee, which is where I reside very close to now. And I kind of never really looked back. I kind of checked in on RC a little bit, went to college and, never really hardly thought about RC anymore. And, funny story, my son was very big into travel baseball and we were constantly doing baseball and he got hurt pretty bad. He took a shot to the nose playing third base one day and had to go through some pretty rough surgeries and he was pretty much just done with sports.
Okay.
So we're riding in the car, my wife, my son and I, and we're talking and we go, well, what'd you do other than sports when you were younger? And I said, well, I raced RC cars and we traveled and, we had a great time. And, we started doing some research and I started checking in, now with social media, where everybody is, right? So I started looking for my old buddies and I'm like, holy crap, man. They're still around. Now are they around? A lot of them are running the companies now and doing different things. And, we started Old School RC and little did my wife know that it was going to be more for me than my son. I think he didn't like it as much just because it was more about dad, So, Old School took off. We started doing, vintage racing after connecting with several people in the Nashville area. At my buddy Matthew Stevens we did a place we set up every couple of weeks called Extreme RC Raceway, and we just slowly built vintage and we started having vintage races and, Old School RC just kept growing. I met Heath and Jeremy and, I guess it's been probably over 10 years now that I've been connected to Cal RC and, been close with Heath. But, Old School has grown. It's grown to, I think, almost 14,000 members. We're very selective. So we could be, it's a private group. So we keep it tight. We screen every single person that comes through. We don't just let anybody in, So yeah, it's been a blast, man. We, this event is something that I've kind of wanted to do. I travel around to a lot of different vintage races and, I've been hit or miss depending on what I've been doing with work. But I'm trying to really, my kind of goal in RC right now is to promote and drive vintage racing across the world. And, I think this event, I've been to several and I've learned from those events and I've kind of taken in and I've met the right people. Probably 9 years ago, Mike Kirby and I were standing out on his farm at one of his events, which was hands down probably one of the until this event recently is the best event I've ever been to. Big crawler event that Mike Kirby used to do at his farm. And I said, you know what, Mike, I really want to do a reunion. I want to pull all the guys back in from the 80s and 90s. And I want to get everybody to one event, and I want to reminisce and share. And, you know, I had met Drew a few years later through Jason, which I believe you met in the Dunbar presentation.
Yeah.
He introduced me to Drew. He was a big member of Old School. Him and I used to travel around, do any vintage race we could. I met Drew, been to a few of Drew's events, and saw what a great promoter he was, and just how he cared and put passion into what he does at these events. And then I went and met Eddie. Mike Kirby and the Henleys already had a relationship. So did Drew. And it was also Dunbar's home track. So I went and I saw that facilities, and I was like, holy cow. Wow.
Yes.
This place could hold the amount of people that we need to hold, and it was clean, and it was ran professionally, and they were already holding big events with JConcepts.
Yeah, INS and all that.
Yeah, they're already holding the INS events. And, you know, Jason Rono and I had been friends for a long time as well, and we've been talking about this race for probably about 9 years as well.
Wow.
Just what it would take to do it, and, you know, me just constantly being in his ear about it. And but I will tell you all this. This was not a me thing. This was a team effort, and every single person, you know, played their part in making this very, very special. You know, Drew's a great promoter. You know, it's what he used to do with Indianapolis Motor Speedways. He understands what it takes to put on a high class event, right?
Yeah.
You know, we worked really hard on the back end. You know, Mike Kirby, like all the graphics y'all do and all this for our setup that we've done, which I'm sure y'all seen some of the live casts we do. But you know, he did all that, like the banners, the big banner across the front of the stage with all the legends on it. You know, all the posters that you had signed. You know, Kirby did all those.
Oh, nice.
You know, just any graphic thing. You know, and we worked our tail off, man. You know, we started, you know, the thought of this started way before, I think, May of last year, but we really started working hard with the legend pieces, and it was harder than I thought, right? It's hard getting people to commit.
Yeah.
The first thing was trying to find a race date that fit in. You know, so I worked with Race Time. I worked with Roar. I worked with Jason. We found a date that just fit right in there perfectly in March. And, you know, you know, March, beginning of April. And it all came together, man. And then it was, you know, getting the legends to commit. And, you know, we had to do a lot of stuff, you know, and we never gave up. You know, we constantly tried. And then once we got Dunbar involved, you know, Dunbar started working the back, because I knew the guys from the 80s. I knew I'd be able to get the guys from the 80s, right?
Okay.
But I kind of missed the 90s. Yes, I knew them. They know me. But as far as having that personal connection, I just didn't have it, you know?
Right.
Yes, I had AE on my side helping me work it. We had some other, you know, and then Dunbar helping me work the Losi side. And we were able to pull it off. And I know it's been tried. And, you know, there was times it's like, holy cow, we're going to be able to do this. And it just all started coming together, man. Then we had more legends calling us wanting to come. We had different people wanting to add in. And it was, it just, you know, being there, and I walk in and I'm still like, it's really surreal because it's like, holy cow, man. I walk in and I'm like, damn, that's Joel Johnson. Damn, he's standing with Jay Halsey. They're talking to Curtis and Eustace.
Yeah, man.
And then when I think it really hit me, man, is when I saw him on the driver's stand for the first time together. It literally brought a tear to my eye. I was like, we did it. You know, we did something that, man, the legends were so pumped. we did some great things for them. Drew did a really, really good job planning. He reached out to my wife, because my wife is a planner and coordinator as well, is what she does, travel and set up events. And she said, Drew asked her to find a place to do a Legends dinner. So within a few minutes, she had sent us a thing saying, hey, I think this will work. And man, that Legends dinner, I wish everybody could have witnessed it. Adam, I know you did. I know we've got a video that we're going to put together and release at some point.
Yeah.
But holy cow. I'll let you kind of say a little bit about that if you want. It was just like, wow.
First off, thanks to you and Kirsty for like letting me tag along to this thing. But walking into a private room with all the icons and legends that like basically everybody on this poster was in attendance in the room. And like when I walked in, my jaw dropped. And like mingling and interacting with these guys were so super cool. Because I think that you were telling Heath like years ago that you wanted to do an event like this.
Yes. So years and years ago. Yes.
Yeah. So for you to like be able to finally pull it off. And then when you walked in and then you and Drew kind of like looked over together and saw that, like you guys like knew like, holy, like, wow, like this is happening right now. And that was super special for me. And seeing how you treated everybody, you made sure that everybody was having an amazing time. You made sure that everybody had all the support that they needed. You made sure Cal RC had their moment of glory. You made sure that all the other sponsors had their moment of glory. You did not leave anybody out, and your passion poured over into everybody else because of the way that you and Drew like hyped it all up. Man, everybody came hyped. Like they fed off of your energy, and that's probably why you were sick, because like man, they must have drained you. But like everybody was just in great spirits. And like bringing it back a little bit old school, you seen Cal RC when they only had like what 5 or 6 products?
Yeah, I mean, I've been with Cal now. I think it's probably been 10 years.
Oh wow.
You helped get me into this thing. So like, that's
you're right. So a lot of y'all that don't know the story is Heath picked Jeremy and myself as the first team managers, because Heath and I got to talking, because Heath and I, there wasn't many days that Heath and I didn't like talk on the phone. And Heath, he don't want to, there ain't no texting, there ain't no emailing. You're going to pick up the phone, you're going to call Heath. So Heath and I, there wasn't many weeks we didn't talk several times. And it was, I'm like, Heath, the product is amazing, but it's a bench product. We got to get it out to the tracks. I mean, we have to. And then in my mind, I'm thinking of what would make it easier at the track, right? Because I'm rolling into the track. I've got my pit mats. They're heavy. I got to put them on the roof of my car to try to get them to, roll back out properly. And, at the time there was settle. Say what?
Just settle. Yeah. I used to use metal on my roof too.
Right. Yeah. And at the time there was no clear protective coating. Right. So you had to be careful with the way you handled and what got on them. And, so my mind just started churning. It still does a lot when it comes to product. And, there's been a lot of cool stuff, that I've seen come to life that, Heath and I have spent late night on the phone talking about. The Carbon series is one of them. We were originally talking about it. And I said, we need something we can roll up that make it easier, that's easier to clean afterwards. We had the idea of the mouse pad, as another easy rollout and, make it more like a regular pit mat. Probably one of my favorites. It was during COVID. When everybody was touchy with everything, I said, Heath, we need something like a Clorox wipe or something that we can, or a sanitizer wipe or something that we could, easily, just pull out and, clean our hands with at the track, do all them different things. And I'm not trying to take credit for any of all this stuff, but it's been kind of a, labor of love with Heath and I. And I think we're starting to see the product at the track now. So many products. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if y'all saw some of my videos, but I had my headlamp on.
I've heard of that
video.
I talked about it for sure. That was the best, especially when you forgot it on and you were blinding everybody. I was like, "What are you doing?" That was awesome. It was definitely one of those must be there moments to truly appreciate how blinding these the headlamps are for Cow RC for sure.
They are amazing. So it's been amazing to see the different things come to life, and working with Heath for all these years and seeing you guys. Congratulations, 55 episodes, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
Cow, man.
I know.
It's been over 2 years, and we're still going.
Right.
We'll have Heath on in no time.
That's right. Well, episode 100, we're over halfway there.
I should have convinced him if we executed this event that he would come on.
You should have made him come to the event.
He said if this one goes well, he would definitely come to an event at some point in time.
Nice.
It's just a matter of, Al Horn posted something and said, it's going to be really hard to ever top this event, and I said, challenge accepted.
That's cool.
It's I've got something brewing in the brain, and we do have the big Vegas race coming up with Team Associated, which I think will be very, very epic as well. Just some stuff to work on that. And but man, it was awesome. I'm so glad you got to be there, Adam, and spending time with you and Tammy was awesome.
The whole thing went basically over the top, because let me just start this off. So first off, I got all these little knickknacks here. We got stickers, we got posters, we got look at these bags. We got in and we had our own pit area all set up, all these goodies, and we're going around, and this might give away our special guest, but we'll get to him in a second. But man, all of this stuff was all strewn throughout the entire pit area for the Legends, and I don't even know what was going on. I'm getting in there, I'm rolling in, and my jaw dropped when I seen all the graphics, the special effects, the way that you guys have everything planned. It's just still on my pit bag, but they gave me a name tag so we could get through the security and all that stuff. Seeing the mod media setups, all this stuff. Yeah, right there. It was so cool to have that. Oh shit! Look at you, eh? And man,
see that?
Signed and autographed.
Nice.
Eh? Yeah. But it was so super cool, and I'm wondering, overall, I've been to a lot of big events and epic events in the United States. It was the best for me because of three things. One, you guys treated me and Tammy amazingly, and we felt very welcome in a class and genre that we are not very familiar with. Two, the professionalism of the facility and the layout and the track and the look and the vibe were unmatched. I've never, ever seen anything like that before in my life. And then number three, the time that we got to spend as a group together. That right there was what took it over the top. And I'm kind of curious, how you thought it went overall, because for me, it was I seen you running around like crazy. I seen Drew running around like crazy. Everybody trying to get everybody happy, but I think I don't know, what's your impression? Because
I mean, dude, it's almost kind of like it was so surreal.
It was.
That there's several things that I probably would have done differently. But one of the things I wanted you to witness, and I tell people all the time, is the vintage community is something special. We've got a group of people, that have kind of been together even before I started Old School. my old buddy Eric Reichert, has a vintage off-road Nats. It's getting ready to go on their 18th year here in September, and their 18th race. And, I started meeting all these folks at his event and through old school. And then we would just all get together and, people would travel, the world to come to these events. And it's really about, community and friendship and, more than the racing, I think. People have a competitive spirit to them. But if you talk to the legends that were there, and we'll have a live cast, and we're gonna recap with all the legends. I'm gonna recap with all the sponsors. I want everybody to really, give feedback and what they thought of the race. But I think they'll tell you probably the biggest, most important part of the event was the reuniting friendships, right?
Yeah.
Some of these guys hadn't seen each other in 30 years.
Wow.
I had just seen Jay Halsey at SEMA because I went there to see him and talk to him about the race. And I had just seen Joel in Park City because my wife and I planned a trip right before the race to just have a little unwind time. But, I hadn't seen Eustace in 36 years, and a lot of these folks, same thing, man. They hadn't been on the driver's stand together 20, 30 years, and, we had all these big events planned, which Drew did a, really good job with like the dinner and the Top Golf.
Yeah.
The Top Golf event.
And it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You like, I saw your video and you're like, wow, this place is crazy.
Blown away. Yeah.
But, when we were driving back from the Legends dinner, I told my wife I felt a little bit guilty. I said, I'm about the group and the community, and I wish they all could have witnessed this. And I think, one of the things they're doing at Associated, they're doing like a banquet, and everybody will be there to be able to see that with that big event in October. But because I always go out with them, right? But I asked my wife, her and I talked, and we planned the kind of farewell dinner kind of very last minute. I think we invited 30 people. I think we had, you tell me, I think there's probably 60 people showed up.
We were the loudest crew.
My ears are still ringing.
It was pretty special for sure. And
but not only did we show up, but we had, I think, 5 legends showed up to that as well.
Yeah.
Which was incredible. Adam, it was special. The event was very, very, very special. If I had it to do all over again, I probably would not race, and I would just spend time, which I did spend a lot of time doing it, but I would spend probably just more time talking to the people, doing interviews, helping mod, making sure we're getting the proper coverage in the pits and the different things. But their coverage too, man, like
awesome.
Just awesome. And they're saying it's their biggest ever, bigger than the last Worlds they did.
No kidding.
They're getting more hits than they did at the last Worlds they did.
So here's some of the content that they actually shared.
Yeah.
And man, like the graphics that they were able to do. And that was one of the prizes that he actually made. These pit mats were amazing, and you should have seen the people that were getting them. I got tons of pictures of all the recipients of these trophies, and obviously those are going to be on the CowRC fan page, and I can't wait to see pictures of them coming back being in use. I don't know, they might not because they're pretty epic, so it might just be on the wall or something. But
that's where mine would be.
Yeah, it was pretty cool that he had the involvement with the trophy mats. I'm not sure whose idea that particular idea was, but it was pretty cool. But man, when we were helping set up, the weight of these trophies, holy cow, they were heavy. But these are just some of the pictures throughout the event. And it was just so much fun. But this one in particular, I wanted to bring up. Look at, there's me sitting there. There's Drew right there. And it was so cool to have everybody out and around the track cheering on the Legends. Like, to me, that's when I was like, holy cow, like, we're actually here. And when we first, I think you pulled me up the first time. They're like, hey, they're out, let's go. And we jumped up on the side, and to hear everybody clapping and cheering and seeing them they still got it. Like, that's the thing. And I know that there was a lot of people that helped to set up their cars. I know one was running yours. I know one was running Drew's. Everybody had help getting their stuff ready. And it was awesome to see them actually doing it.
Yeah, I would love to thank a couple people for that. We had Adam Ross working behind the scenes. We had, I'm sorry, Adam Rails.
Rails, yeah.
You were working behind the scenes, but not on cars. We had Robert Stevens doing that. You know, I of course worked on Jay Halsey's, but we, you know, that was something epic, and that's what a lot of the legends said is, you know, Matt Francis, especially him and Drew became really close. I'm so glad they got the relationship that they built during this event. But you know, they basically got to show up, and we had their cars ready for them, right? There are some people that wanted to build their own, like Joel Johnson built his own. I know that Matt Ledger built his own. And there was just a lot of people behind the scenes truly helping make that, you know, happen. But in order to do, you know, we got people that have not had radios in their hands for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You know, MIP, you saw the setup when they walked in, man, they had these beautiful custom engraved pit boards by my buddy Daniel McDade at Dragon Punch RC, which Drew helped set all that up. We worked with MIP. They customized toolkits to the cars that the legends were using,
which was crazy,
and sent those in, right? So they walk in, bam, you know, their entire pit is just beautiful. There's another beautiful pit mat that didn't show up that was going to go under the layer until too late, but it was just, you know, you walk in and it was like a red carpet rolled out for everybody that came in the event. And we try to do that for everybody. You know, I tried to make sure every day I went and checked on the people that were in the back and, you know, spent time with those folks. There's so many people though that I wanted to spend time with that I didn't. So it was definitely hard to take it all in. And like the mod media stuff, the things that they did for this event, showing off all the products, showing off all the cool stuff. Like it was epic. And so I was lucky enough through you to get an interview with the mod media guys. Yeah.
And when we went up, they introduced me as like the owner of Cow RC. And I quickly corrected him because, you know, he's the man.
Come on, man. You could have been the owner for a day.
You know what? Yeah. We could have pulled off something, but it was so cool that he actually used the product, and he was super knowledgeable about the product.
Yeah.
But the best thing was that the whole vibe and the way that they welcome you into the broadcast was epic, and to see their equipment blew me away. How they do all the pictures and they kept it Cow RC related was, man, just top notch. Obviously they got a lot on their plate, and I don't know if people were able to see, but you could even grab some stuff. They had the photographer out there, and like, so cool. Man, I could see the Cow RC logo on the front of my buggy. Yeah. That's how
every single one, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was an honor to be a part of that broadcast, and we did a blind test with some of the legends, and we basically took some tires and we cleaned them with the Cow RC tire wash. We used one of the spray. I won't even say the name, but it was recommended by most of the locals, and then of course the other Sybil one. But it was cool because we got 5 votes. And then the one that was recommended by the locals got 3, and the other one only got 2 votes. So we got the majority. But the coolest thing was some of the things got overlooked because the product doesn't pull anything away. So if you've already like contaminated it with other stuff, it's not going to fix it, but it's also going to make sure that you get the best tire and grip possible. And let's face it, Dirk, I've never been on a clay track with that much grip. I was almost on my carpet setup for how grippy this
100%
was. Yeah, like bonkers. Because me, when I heard thinking dirt, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to like be a little loosey goosey. I'm gonna have to like pick the right line. This was a point and shoot track, and if you stayed in the groove, it paid off big time. So I definitely got to say that the tire wash was definitely a huge success. And the hide wipes was another good one. And I stole your stuff because I didn't even have the products available for the show, which was pretty epic. But
I'm like packing up. I was looking for hide wipes to like clean my area because that's normally the last thing I pack. I'm like, I guess somebody just took the hide wipes. And then I'm walking up the trophies, and Adam comes back. He's got a whole handful of all this stuff. But I had it all out and displayed, and
I stole your hat and everything, man. It was like hilarious, man. I was all like, it was awesome to get it in. Definitely super cool. And I know that you were talking about their numbers, and they did the worlds as well. And for them to say that this was even more received from the public is bonkers. And looking at the replays is even blowing me away.
Yeah, when's the last time you've seen 16 world's racing drivers from three different errors on the driver's stand together?
Never.
I mean, it's not been done, right?
Never.
It's just not. And the feeling of being there, and that's one reason I'm glad you got to come, because it was just, you got to do all the fun stuff with us too,
Right? Like it was truly an iconic event. And usually my wife hates sitting inside like the thing. Yeah.
And she is commenting.
Oh man. Yeah. And she even enjoyed the event, and it has a lot to do with you and your wife. You guys made it exceptional. Obviously you treated us with like the utmost respect and camaraderie. Man, anytime you need help, you just give me a call, hit me up. Like we're down to roll, man. Cause it was definitely a pleasure to meet you in person. Like I know we chatted online and stuff like that, but man, to see how hard of a worker you are, your passion and love for the hobby was contagious. It was just epic. People couldn't help but feed off of how much fun you wanted the event to be, and how much of yourself and Drew went into this to make sure that everybody was on the same level. You treated the newcomers as you did the legends. Like obviously the legends got the bats, you guys did the whole presentation, you did like the rock star stuff, but everybody there felt like a rock star. You made sure of it. And man, I gotta thank you, because I felt like a rock star. And hold on, look at this. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, baby. I didn't get to go home with one of those.
Yeah, didn't go home empty-handed. But it was super cool. And to meet all these extra people was just amazing. But speaking of meeting extra people, we got somebody hidden in the background that we got to bring him on and let him kind of talk about his experience, because man, he was my pit partner. I'm not gonna tell anybody who he is yet, but like he was like right there. He was like my guy for the weekend, and I kind of looked him up on Facebook. I'm like, wow, man, like okay, let's see what he can do. And he was having a quiet weekend, and then all of a sudden the mains come around, and he was like straight up fire. This guy just blew me away. Had a phenomenal finish. Waiting to get his trophies to fly on out, but we'll let you hear it from the man. Let me just pull him on board. This is our special guest, so here we go. Let me bring him on board so you guys can see who we're talking about. Oh yeah, Jose, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Going well, thanks, Adam. Good to see you.
Oh man, it's awesome to see you again. And man, congratulations on all your podiums, man. I was like, this guy's pretty fast, but let's see what he can do in the mains. And you did not disappoint, man. So we got to hear from you. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was my first time to Hoosier. I hadn't been there before, although I have tried many, many times to get out there. And Dirk and I have been chatting. I've been racing quite a bit lately with Dirk. And yeah, so I was able to make it out there. It was fun. My cars were good. I had a good weekend. It was a fun time.
Yeah. So let's talk about what was your favorite class? Let's start with that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because most people know me. Listen, I've been racing since the late 90s. And I purposely put my truck and one of the mod pictures, which I thought they did a fantastic job. But truck, everybody knows me for truck. That's always been my token class, especially in the gas truck days. That's how I really got to be known across the U.S. and other places. But going into it, somebody asked me what the class that I really, really, really wanted, and it was four-wheel. Just because I had built a car, there was a lot of other cars and out there, and there was all kinds of brands, and I really wanted to do well, and I had put that car together, and I almost did it. I should have won it, but I got second, so I'll take it.
Dude, it looked so good, and well, obviously you had to fly in, so you weren't able to have your normal pit regime. And I learned something in the chat before the show, so I'm not going to spill the beans for anybody. But how did you hear about Cow RC, and how did you kind of get your first impression of Cow RC? Because I learned it, but I want the viewers to hear it.
Sure. No, listen, like I said, I've had many chapters of this journey of RC, and I also do 8 skill and everything. And a few years ago, a few buddy of mine, we're always in 8 skill. You guys know in the races, everybody's trying to fight to find a compressor because these cars go through just an immense amount of, exposure out there to the elements. And these guys have these little handy blowers. I'm like, what in the world are these things? And I looked at it and I said, I got to have one. So I got my blaster many years ago before, of course, I knew you. And truth be told, my neighbor who doesn't race RC cars, I didn't tell you this earlier, he sees me one day using, he's like, what is that? So he goes and buys one just because he needed to have one because he thought it was, listen, the perfect package, the perfect form factor. We travel to races. We got to minimize as much as we can with all the stuff that we have to take to races. And it's just been awesome. I've had it for a few years now. It's never let me down. It's been amazing. And, of course, then I ran into you and your lovely wife, and I got to learn a lot more about all the great products you guys have.
Yeah, so the one product in particular, you had to glue up some tires.
Yes.
And I let you try the electronics cleaner. And, hey, to my impression, dude, you finished well, and your tires didn't come off. So it must have worked.
It had nothing to do with the challenge. It was just a cleaner. It was amazing. No, it was fantastic. No, I was chuckling, as we went through the weekend. We chatted a lot, and of course, you had a lot of your different product offerings there. So I was learning and kind of just hearing you talking to folks. And I told you, right? I'm a pretty neat freak. I think people know this, and I typically just rely on the good old simple green to do my tire prep, and it works well. But you kind of said, hey, you got to give this a try, and for reasons I think you have expressed here, I'm really preserving the tire integrity and so forth. Yeah, so I gave it a try. It was super easy to use. Left no film, which is kind of what I always care about, right? And it was really, really good. And of course, then at the end, you haven't asked me, but I had to get one of these wipes that everybody kept on talking about. So I ended up buying one of those.
Yeah, no, it was cool. And man, to see your results, it's always cool when people around you are winning and getting trophies and just up on the podium. And man, at an event like this, to make it onto the podium, I couldn't believe it. I know the second place was pretty special to you, but ultimately the one truck race, you fell back a little bit and you had to battle back, and that impressed me. Like, I know you like the Wheeler one, like the Wheeler one, obviously, because like second place, man, like you were so close. But when people fall back and have to battle on a high grip track, because like I'm not used to the grip that was there.
Yeah.
And for me, once I got the help from like all the legends and everybody, like I broke like literally like right away. And I don't want to swear online, but everybody, once I stopped doing that, they're like, okay, we're going to un-F your car and get you going in the right direction. And I went from 31 second times down to 24. So the improvement was there. And I'm just super blessed that everybody was so helpful. The knowledge that we got, even from yourself, from everybody talking around, all the stuff. And like these trinkets and stuff like that, for those of you who don't know, do you want to get into a little what you do?
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity. And listen, just going back to the truck, man, I you got to put your head down. As I tell people, it's a race. It doesn't stop till the tone ends, right? So you just got to keep trucking forward and see how it all gets, how it all works out. Yeah, I was able to, through Dirk and the team, we did just a remarkable job, and we can talk about that as much as you want. I decided to, join the sponsor list in a small way at that, but a way that I can, and was able to make a few things that were special for the legends, and I've raced with so many of them as well. So for me, there was a reunion piece. But those little tokens, I was trying to bring the combination of most of us stayed at the casino.
Yeah, man. I love it.
I really wanted something that people can put next to whatever it is, their picture, their trophy, their whatever, as a little token. It reminded me, I went to the Worlds in 2003, and we were all given something like memorabilia. And I wanted something to be out there that people could put, by their memorabilia and just be somewhat symbolic. So it was a little bit of a play on the casino night. It's a poker chip or a ball marker if you're a poker player. And of course,
that's what I'm using it for.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, man.
It was a cool project.
Yeah. And obviously, you know what, Tyler, hold on. We got to bring something on board real quick, because we got to give something away. So
the hashtag
old school,
what?
I completely forgot. So hashtag old school, we're going to get some stuff away. So I'll leave that up there. Right. But yeah, I'm a huge poker player. So this is, man, cool. I'm definitely using it myself. The whole setup was super cool to have everybody getting in on it, and the grab bag, like
yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Cool and you had asked me earlier, Adam, and I won't be too long here winded, but yeah, so we at the company at Z3D, we just make products. My motto is things that are just simply effective, and although it sounds a little a little simple and cheeky and whatever, in the whole vintage community, there are a lot of products that you can't get any longer. Yes. There are other products that are incredibly expensive because supply and demand situation. And the third leg of the stool is that we have challenges. How do we take a vintage car and put it in a 2025 world, right? With different electronics and everything else. So we make everything from replacement parts to fan mounts, because we got to keep these motor cool, or do other kinds of things that allow you to run modern springs on your car, etc. So it's a fairly young company. It's been a lot of fun. I work closely with a lot of folks like Dirk and others to try to provide a product that's reliable and enhances the experience. So that's what we do here for fun.
Yeah, and so Z3D is his thing. And the one thing that I got to say was everybody that came by, Pro or Joe, you helped out equally. It was so cool.
Absolutely.
Man, you just made everybody's day, because there was some unique, okay, I'm not an old school guy. I am now, but I wasn't. And seeing some of these parts, geez Louise, it was bonkers. And I didn't realize that you can make an old school car handle the way that you guys did. And I was blown away.
I mean, some of our times were half a second behind a 2025 vehicle, right, on a lap time basis, and that is just
that's crazy.
These cars are really, really good, and they may be maybe because of their era, a little bit more difficult to work on, or maybe a little bit more fragile, or maybe whatever. But, with proper tuning and care and a little bit of modernization, I think people should be incredibly comfortable driving them, and they're amazing. I've enjoyed it. I've only been doing it for a year and a half, although I grew up in the old school world, but it's a lot of fun, and we make these old cars get around the track.
I'm definitely gonna have an old school car for the next event, guaranteed. So. No, man, seeing all the fun that you guys had, I'm definitely gonna do it. I'm even gonna have Heath make some old school Cal RC mats for me because I know he's got the old graphics and the original stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bring it back old school for real this time and have some fun with it because he definitely has been around this business for a while. He likes to support the community, and honestly, I got to thank Heath for allowing me to work with you and set up the display, have the products there, and just let me do what we do. And the exposure that we were able to get across from all the traffic that was there, it was priceless. And not a lot of people had the opportunity to go see, but they had a dirt oval in the back far corner as well. And obviously I'm building a late modify right behind us. And like all my fans and followers were all about the oval. They're like, dude, just take your wheel around the oval. Don't worry about the track anymore. And we had some fun with it. And I got to say that seeing how you guys interacted with all the people really drove home the importance of having an at-track presence. And I know, Dirk, you were talking about that as well. And I'm going to bring it up with Heath again. I think that being able to have like a person like you and Jeremy back in the day that can showcase the product in the proper light and bring it to the forefront and show people that may not know why they need the product, this is why, and just blow them away. I know that you basically had the blower already. You got to try the electronics cleaner. You got to try the tire wash, and then you got to you bought the high whites. Did you try them yet, or?
No. So truth be told, I tried it when you gave it to me, and I which with the convincing factor, my stuff was somebody drove all my stuff back, so I don't have my any of my things yet. I even left my radio, but I left in such chaos. I left my radio, and he had to ship me my radio back.
Oh, wow.
But I made it. I'm getting everything on Tuesday, so I'm excited.
I was worried about you, Jose.
I made it.
So I guess Rick has an old school mat still, man. You got to send me a picture of that, bud.
Monochrome.
So
I want to thank Jose while he's here as well for all. Jose and I've known each other about a year and a half now, but he has been just full throttle into vintage and old school. And I had several people tell me during and after the event that this event is really what RC needed. And I truly think it is. I think vintage is going to come back even stronger than ever. And I think people for Jose, I mean, I don't think I have a car that I run that doesn't have one of his products on it, which is special, right? But I also want to say the dude is fast.
Like,
and I can't curse, but I gotta say, and he's fast as F, boy. And he is.
He was running vintage faster than my 2025. I just going to throw that.
I want to talk to you about some of the names that he beat in this Wheeler class. Scott Spear, professional driver. Alan Horn, which swept the entire Legend Series. Adam Rails, Brock Peterson, Craig Patterson, Larry Doe, Jason Harp. You did awesome, dude. And I knew you would. It's Chris Von Air was just he was unbeatable this weekend. And
he was strong. He was really strong.
He was
he had a strong showing and it was good. I mean, I think we had the pace. But he did amazing, to be honest with you. And I had I felt really good going to the event. I just came back from World of RC, where they have their vintage event, and of course a few of the other ones. And I thought my stuff was going to be decent there, and it was good. But we'll come back stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I just, I know I need people like you to help us continue growing, the vintage community. And I'm glad you're a great partner with us. And, we've become super close. There's not many weeks that Jose and I don't talk a few times. And it's because the great relationship we built. And we did a vintage race. It was very kind of last minute, and we did it in like a month. And, but I think we pulled like 130 entries or something like that, Jose, in that short time at Mimi's. Great track, a very old track, and Miss Mimi is a very, very special lady. So we definitely want to do something there again in the future as well. But, a lot of these folks, man, once we get together, they just start traveling together and having a good time together. And that's what the vintage community does, man. It just, if you do it right, it can just continue to grow and form. And seeing those rear motor cars on that track, man, they did all right.
They did great. And, and if I may just take 30 seconds, because I think you guys talked about it earlier before I joined the call. And, this race brought a lot of unique elements that we used to have as part of the RC racing environment all the time. And kudos to so many folks, from Drew to Eddie to, of course, Dirk and many folks that made this happen in earnest. But I think this reminded me of how races used to be. You can almost take the vintage part of it. It was really the fabric that we are there to race. We're there to have fun. We're there to help each other out in any way possible. We're there to just goof around and be silly. And I was talking to a few folks like Jason Rohn and others. I feel like racing today, as fun as it is, it's a little bit more transactional. We go to the race, we do our thing, and then we all go home, right? Yeah. This really had so many elements that really were just encouraging of us, almost even wanting to spend more time with one another, right? And kind of just embrace the moment. We could argue that the legends, by having them brought it there, you can argue we were celebrating Brian Dunbar's life, which is such a tragic thing, and I got to race with him, and man, it would have been great to have him there. Maybe that created it, but I also think that underpinning all that, this reminded us what RC is about, right? Which is that whole sense of competition plus fun, plus being a little silly, plus just having a great place to do it. I think that more than a trifecta, but those elements coming together, that's how it used to be. And I think races need to do that more, just to elevate the whole RC community, right? And go like that. The last place that I went to that had pictures was the Worlds in 03. Like, just, it sounds so simple, but you get an amazing photographer and you get an opportunity to pick a picture.
Yes.
Those little things matter, right? They really, really matter.
I mean,
the vibe in the pits, if I could bottle it up, awesome. We would be able to sell it on the CowRC website. Because I'm telling you, the formula was amazing. Yeah. The whole ambiance, I can't explain it. I can't even put it into words. But if you were there, oh my God, you just fed off of the energy. It was like being at a Worlds, and it's just simply amazing. Seeing everybody clapping and cheering as people are making passes. That Al Horn pass was epic. Like, all those items, like, just made the whole event amazing. But man, I gotta say, there's a few legends that I didn't think would be that good because they haven't raced in so long.
Right.
And they hit the ground running. It was super cool to see. And man, I couldn't be more impressed with the way that the flow went. It was definitely very cool to be a part of. But I wanted to ask a question that came up. The remakes for the vintage cars, those are allowed to race in the vintage classes, or how's that work?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can go through, if there's any questions related to vintage, if you want to go answer them, we can. 100%. If it's a re that falls into the age group, it definitely fits. We are going to look, Jason Rono and I did a lot of talking, and, he's normally like my consultant that I go out to. I say consultant, but, we talk about, hey, what do you think's working? What do you think's not working? Then I talk to people like Jose. There's a group of us. Yeah. That I really get feedback from, and we really try to twist. So we are going to probably update some of the rules a little bit. if you think about it, we had 77
In two-wheel.
77 two-wheel drive cars.
Jeez.
We easily could have split that in between, tub chassis and B2s, B3s, XXs. We're also looking at potentially maybe a resto mod, what I call a new nostalgia class, where we, if the car has a bunch of mods to it or big bore shocks or whatever. But we'll look at all that and get all that fine tuned, and we'll continue to make things better. You got to listen to the feedback and do cool stuff. So,
well, I know that you and Heath will definitely make sure that Cow RC is a part of it, because, man, honestly, I said, having you invite me was the big push that I needed, because typically my first big event of the year is always PMB, and I'm having a media blackout because I don't want to know who won. No spoiler alerts, please.
Oh boy!
But right now I'm like so appreciative that you invited me and my wife. It was definitely an awesome time, and man, I think that we got to give some stuff away. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
All right, so
a lot of people watching, so this is awesome.
Yeah, we got 50 people on board. So here, let me bring it up. So hashtag right now, if you guys want to win some free stuff, and we will get the ball rolling. So Dirk, what do you think we should give away, bud?
Oh my goodness! Let me see if I can find the most expensive thing to make Heath smile.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Heath. I love you, buddy. Let me see here. I think I know. What about one of the new mini jet blasters?
Actually, hey, you know what? A lot of people were trying it out, even all my immediate surroundings. I think that is a great giveaway. So everybody, good luck. Hashtag old school. John, that didn't work. Look at Heath was like, uh-oh.
There goes Dirk.
All right. So we got everybody in. Good luck. So this is for the mini jet blaster. Good luck, everybody. Yep. New and improved jet blaster.
New and improved, baby.
Oh, man. Joseph Canyon, congratulations, man. That is super cool.
Congratulations.
They are really cool. So just message me or Tyler. We will get you hooked up. And so, Jose, man, what are you thinking? What do you want to give away, bud?
Listen, I overwhelmed by all the great options here, to be honest with you.
You're going to need a few minutes.
I'm doing good. I just don't want you guys to send me a text afterwards. I can't believe you went for that.
I'm surprised he hasn't texted me yet.
No. I am going to go with something that I actually use quite often. And I think it could be useful for a lot of people to do their bearings, and that's going to be the ultrasonic cleaner.
Good choice.
Nice.
Man,
I use that a lot. It's they're super handy. People undervalue how much taking care of your bearings and other things are important. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Excellent choice.
Yeah. No.
Which one are you going with? You going with the stainless basin?
That's the one. Yep.
That's the one. All right.
That is awesome. Because, like, man, we got a little something we're gonna do. Yeah, that is. Look at. Heath agrees, man. Like, oh, look, everybody's like, yeah, I want to win now. Hey, how come I can't? My hashtag's not working right now. What's going on? All right. Good luck, everybody. That is an awesome prize, and I've been testing it. So on Tuesday,
it works well.
I should have it down pretty good.
Jeremy wins. Nice.
Jeremy, you're done. Jeremy Burris. Congratulations. Heck yeah. All right, man. Well,
so yeah, this new ultrasonic looks pretty hot, man.
It is. Dude, I've been having a blast with it.
Big,
and I got a little top secret like voodoo stuff going in there, so I can't wait to spill the beans. And you know what? It might just be on the next show. Yeah, that's the original. No,
that's the OG, man.
Yeah, version 2.
One.
Because the next show is going to be stacked with new products.
Yes.
We're going to do a deep dive into the graphite with the new ultrasonic, the new blaster, and a secret prototype reveal plus
secret sauce.
More. Oh, yeah. So I know that I got a little something here that I can share for sure, which not a lot of people have seen yet, but if you haven't seen it yet, you're definitely going to see it soon.
You've not seen it.
Ooh,
no.
Yeah.
That goes on this can.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I gave Heath a little heart attack out at the JConcepts old school vintage race. I had some of the demo products out for like, we were just like testing and stuff like that. He's like, dude, you got to hide that crap. I'm like, oh, man, sorry. Yeah, because I thought he was like calling to say, hey, awesome display. Everybody's like hyping it up. And he's like, dude, no, get rid of that, man. That's just for you. I'm like, whoops. Sorry, man.
Adam, we spent 4 days together. You never showed me.
What's that? Oh, no, I had to hide it, man.
Yeah, I had to put it up.
The big boss man was like, no, man, like that's
eye in the sky. He saw it. He doesn't miss much.
No, it was scared me a little bit. I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, man, hey, guys, I appreciate it, man. We've been on for an hour. Man, you guys rock. Jose, man, your results speak for themselves. It was amazing to see you throw down with some of the freaking best in the business. You're doing the vintage crowd proud. It was amazing to see. And I know once I get my vintage car, I'm going to be hooking it up with some hop-ups, buddy. No, dude, I cannot wait. And Dirk, man, I can't thank you and Christy enough. The way that you treated me and my wife was amazing, dude. I love you. It was, you made it special. Like, I can't even say nothing more. It was amazing. And dude, it was epic, man.
Adam, I want to tell you something. On the way, I don't know if you saw my message yet, but on the way home, my wife and I were talking about how much we just really enjoyed you and Tammy. And we're like, they are our people, right? They're just our kind of people. And I know now just why you are so great with Cal RC. You know, you've got that people gene, and you're just good people. And your wife is behind you in what you do. And, you know, one of these days when Heath wants to retire, maybe we'll be running Cal RC. Who knows?
Yeah. Man, hey, it has been a treat. I'm looking forward to seeing what you two have up your sleeve. And, man, just
Heath and I, it's always been a kind of a joke that one of these days I'm going to retire, go down to Florida, and him and I are going to live our lives out together and make Cal RC the very best thing in the entire RC industry, which it is fantastic already, but it's just getting it out there to the racers, baby.
Heck yeah, man. We're going to do our part. And, man, you got to join us next episode for all the special stuff that we have to bring you.
I'm going to have to join on this one and see it for sure.
Heck yeah, man. All right. Well, man, that's a wrap, man. Episode
thank you guys.
In the books. We will see you guys in 2 short weeks. Bye.
Jose.
Guys.
Everybody.